Hi, everybody. My name is Tara Smith. I am a postdoctorate here at the Centre in the Spirituality and the Arts in the Transcendence and Transformation Initiative at the Centre of Studies of World Religion. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I'm still getting all the different initiatives, and it's wonderful to be part of that. And I'm from Australia, you probably picked up my accent. So I did my PhD in Sydney. And I guess my area is really religion and popular culture is my main field. So that's how I'd introduce myself. G'day. So my project is basically looking at Warhammer 40k, which is a very sort of popular, the most popular tabletop miniature game that is played around the world, where you have little models that come as grey plastic, and you take them out, you glue them together, and then you paint them, and then you play with them. So you play normally at like a Warhammer 40k store, and that's where you'll sort of play and interact with other players. And for me, this was such an interesting site because, firstly, there's not much research at all done in Warhammer from an academic perspective at all, even though it's very popular. And then there's virtually, I think there's like two journal articles on religion within Warhammer. And the kind of lore that's within Warhammer is very expansive stories that have been written by a big team of sort of artists that explore all sorts of aspects of religion, including, there's a lot of Catholic themes, there's a lot of occult themes. And so it's a real kind of interesting, I think, if you're just going to do a thematic analysis of how players interact with religion in that space. But apart from that, there's other ways that players are sort of interacting with religion, as in, their own religious beliefs, how that might impact how they play, and one of the main parts of my study is doing a flow state study. So whilst there's been flow studies in video gaming, there's been, as far as I'm aware, no studies on flow state in painting these miniatures because it's so specific. So I'm going to be doing some interviews with painters of Warhammer 40k and sort of investigating whether they're sort of entering a sort of religious flow state or a flow state sort of akin to meditative states. So that's the kind of main project. And then I'm also doing two other papers as part of that. So very interested in just Warhammer 40k and how it engages with the religion in a few different ways, including the flow state. I think the centre's really well equipped to sort of support, academics and scholars that are not just working in, I guess, more larger studies, but also quite small and niche projects. And already I've been able to speak to a lot of colleagues here about, their popular culture and religion interests. So I'm not the only one here that's sort of focusing on this kind of thing. And on top of that, the wealth of knowledge in methodologies, so I've also been able to have conversations about, just wanting to run by, like, this is how many people I'm thinking for my study. And as a sort of younger academic, I only graduated last year with my PhD. It's really wonderful to have that kind of diverse experience and support from senior academics that are already so well known in the field. So that's been really wonderful just here at the centre. I guess the mentorship and the kind of support in that way. It's been a really nice way to meet people. And I think that the fact that the centre does so many events and the Harvard Divinity School has so many events is such a good way because you can really come to university and just be totally in a silo of, going to classes. And this is if you're a student or even as an academic, you come in, you work on your project and you leave. And I think having those workshops, even if you're talking before them and having conversations with lunch and things like that, that kind of bonding might happen in those like unintentional moments, but it's so important for having a well-rounded experience, I think, of university life. So I wish there'd been more workshops like that when I was going through my undergrad, because we definitely didn't do as many like that. So it's been really great.